recording. Okay. Welcome, Tracy
Hi,
Leach,
Evan.
to our show, to our talk show format. Yeah, thank you for coming and thank you for being willing to be interviewed and just talk about your experience. I think it'll be good for people here in the community, to sort of hear what your journey is and has been. I think you've got a really interesting and unique and compelling story. Is there anything you want to say to start about doing this work to begin with, or you want me just to ask you questions?
You can just ask me questions.
Okay. Well, the way that I met you, I think I met you through Stacy, but I actually met you first. Um,
Right.
and we hopped on a call. And we very quickly got down to some very touchy stuff, which I'd love to talk about. If, hopefully you feel comfortable. You've been pretty comfortable talking about it so far, but it was really interesting because, in talking to both you and your sister, you guys tried to do businesses and stuff together. It didn't work out, and I was sort of looking in the past for like, okay, what could be something like that? And then you shared that event with me. You want to share it for everybody so they kind of know what we're talking about with your uncle and your father?
Yeah. While talking to Evan, we got down to while we was going through the processes of getting down to blockages, and it came up that my dad's brother had shot him. And then as we was talking further, it came to my remembrance that he shot him over his business, over money in the business. They was in business together. So that brought a remembrance back to me and it just triggered like, oh, that's a major blockage and why me and my sister could never really get anywhere with our businesses. Because that happened when we was younger around, I think, I don't know, we was young. I know it had to been 10 or younger
Yeah.
than when it happened, yeah.
Well, and what was really amazing to me is because you told me that, and I thought you were like pretty aware of it and stuff. Like you hadn't really thought about that memory in a long time. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So that's crazy. Well, what that says to me is like you two were ready to kind of have that healed. It was time for it to come up, and time for you to kind of move through that. For both of you. So I mean, that's really cool. So I'm trying to think. So you did one of the small group workshops, right? So we had four people, and we
Yes.
got together once a week. Is that the thing that you chose? I think it was. We were talking about whether or not that was a good idea because it was kind of so heavy. Um, but I think you chose that one to work
Yes.
block. And the idea was we were going to spend a month with a block and we were going to get at least halfway through it. Ideally, we'd get all the way through it. But what happened for you? How long did it take you to move through that block?
Um, Actually, throughout the whole session, the month, it helped me, move the block. And then after doing that, my creative awareness started opening up, and I started getting more downloads for businesses and stuff again. And then
Wow.
after that, it just started taking off. Me and my sister, everything just started rolling again. And now I understand the difference between flow and resistance. Through your
Mm.
course, it allowed me to feel the difference of when I'm in resistance and when I'm in flow. And that gave me a
Wow.
big, huge understanding of when I'm in resistance. Wow, this is what it feels like. So now I know when I'm in resistance, I just stop. I just stop, do something else, and just forget about it. And then when I feel the flow coming back in, that's when I started again. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot there that's really brilliant. I mean,
but that
but
helped me really, really to go by your feelings. It helped me really. Yup.
yeah, that's a huge thing. I mean, there's so much of what you just said. Let's see if we can cover some of those things. So, in my memory, you like went through that first block like in a week or a week and a half. Like it was fast because then, like within the second one, or yeah, I think it was the second one, you're like, oh yeah, I moved on from that block already. I'm now moving on to the church block. Like you did that. You guys did that fast, right? That's kind of how it went, right?
Yes.
But so when that blockage kind of moved, then all of a sudden there was this kind of flow and rush of energy and creative inspiration, right?
Yes.
So that kind of sort of shows what we're talking about. It's not so much that we all need to become more, right? It's that it's already all in there inside of us, and we just need to tap into it. And the reason we can't tap into it is because there's these terrible feelings here, and we don't want to feel them. But when we're willing to feel them
Right.
and move through them, then it releases all that block. And that sounds like what you experienced, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. And so then you said some other really great stuff too. You said you could feel the difference between flow and resistance. And what's great
Yes.
about that, and I can see why you guys were both so good at this, is because that's a tuning in to the sensations in your body, right? That's not a
Right.
mind thing, right? That's a like being in touch with like the emotions and also and feeling like is the body tight or is it open kind of thing.
Right.
And so I'm always encouraging everybody here knows I'm always encouraging everybody to get down into their body. And so you guys just kind of pick that up really like really well. And I think that's one of the reasons why it like you just kind of you guys just kind of picked it up kind of faster than anybody I've ever seen, really, to be honest. You guys both just took it and ran with it, which is incredible. And there's one other thing you said in there too. I forgot. I might might have to come back to it. Okay, so you went through that one. What came up immediately after that was this really strong, for both of you, I think, was this really strong
Yes.
block around your church and this notion of being controlled and the whole controlling environment. So what happened with that block?
Yeah, so as me and Stacy, we were talking, we would go through the promptings of what you said, like go through the feelings, going through, and see what you feel and why it's there, ask the questions to ask what is it trying to show you, what you need to heal, what's the blockage. So we get
Hmm.
down to it and we found that it was control. We don't like to be we don't want to be put in control. So that was one reason why I was having problems with relationships because I felt as though they wanted to control me. And every
Right.
time I get into a relationship and I feel like they're about to control me, I just back off and just, leave it alone or just dissolve the relationship because I didn't want to
Right.
deal with that feeling of control.
Okay, so let me just pause you right there. So this deep wound, right? And the church was very combined with your family in the beginning because everybody
Yes.
in your family was kind of in the church, right? And so they were all kind of in that sort of controlling kind of space. And so for you, relationships and being close, there's a lot of control in there. And you're like, I don't want to be controlled. And so you thought in every relationship they were being controlling, and you didn't see that there was this whole filter that you had from the past of being controlled.
Right.
Okay. So we're on the same page there. Good. So then you worked through this block. So then how did that affect your relationships going forward when you saw that?
I started having a voice. I started, speaking how I feel instead of just shutting down and just backing away and just dealing with it. I started just, feeling and just speaking my truth and letting them know how I feel. And I didn't never do that. I always just shut up and just go, and just hide away and just leave it alone. And it just still be there. But now I face it head on now and I feel
That's
great. And I
yeah,
know
that,
now I know what I want and what I don't want, and it feels good.
yeah, that's great. I mean, I work with a lot of people and I see that. I see that the beginning of real kind of health, emotional health, relationship health is you have to be willing to sort of say what's happening for you, and let other people know in a non-attacking way, right?
Right.
But you've got to be you have to sort of like have enough sort of worth or value of yourself to say, yeah, what I'm interested in or what I want matters, what you're displaying. Okay, so
Yes.
that's as far as I'm counting, that's already kind of two miracles right
Yeah.
there. Now, and then you had a third situation that came up, with your daughter, and I don't know how much you want to say about that or whatever, but that was like a real challenge because that was like a real curveball. That wasn't like, oh, now I'm going to make a choice about this and decide to go tackle this. This was like
Yeah,
something that came up, and I was quoting myself earlier. One of my favorite quotes of mine is, "Your next spiritual awakening starts as a problem, maybe even an explosion." So I don't know how much you want to talk about that, or just tell me whatever you feel comfortable talking about that with your daughter and how you were able to sort of work through that because you did an amazing job with it, as far as I'm concerned. And that was some high level stuff because that's different than making a choice to say I'm going to work on a block versus
right.
it's happening that feel really scary.
Well, I had, and that's the reason I was in that relationship for 5 years. But what happened with my daughter, and I've been trying to get out of it, but I never would say anything. And then the control came up. It showed me where I wasn't speaking my truth and where I was falling back and letting somebody overtake and feed me their truth and me deliver on their behalf.
Mhm.
So that incident was like an out for me. Well, I seen it as an out,
Right.
for me to speak my voice and to tell them I don't want to be in this relationship no more. I'm not happy. I don't want to experience this no more and I want to move on. So that incident just allowed me to be more open and free. And I felt good doing it though. I didn't feel like usually I feel like, oh, I don't want I always take the second seat. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want them to be upset and I don't want them to, be stressed out. But this time I put me first. And it felt
Mm.
good doing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've said this enough in our group, but I'm a big believer in always putting yourself first because if you put your true self first, guess what? Your true self wants to be of service to other people too. But when you
Right.
listen to your true self, you can strike that perfect balance between taking care of yourself, but then also doing for others. Because there's a natural balance. And when it stops feeling good doing something for somebody else, that's definitely when you should stop. If it's not feeling good to do something for somebody else, then you know you've wandered into other territory. All right,
Right.
so that's all pretty incredible. And then I think what it impressed me, so walking through that, and I mean, I saw you using these tools all the way through, and it
Yeah.
almost seems to me like this has become a practice slash kind of a way of life for you in terms of dealing with
Yep.
stuff as it comes up. Tell us about that. Tell us how you work with this energy as it shows up, or how you implement this in your life these days.
Yeah. So now I'm still working on stuff that comes up. Me and my sister, we have the my creative energy started really spiking. It took a lead, showing me things that I can do because I don't want to be in a workforce for a long time. So as it comes up, I sit with it and I allow it to take me. That's how I notice the flow and the resistance. So once something come up and I feel it's like a peace that comes and I know that that's a flow, like you need to go in this direction. But then when I start feeling like a resistance of chest tightening, like I just don't feel like doing this no more, that's when I back off. So
Hmm.
I'm still implementing the feelings. I'm still getting, acquainted with how everything feels, but I think I think I'm understanding it a lot more. So now things are starting to move. I started a juice business and it's really flowing really well. I mean, my coworkers, they love it. I'm shocked. I'm like, oh my gosh, and I haven't been really. It's not something I feel as though I'm working for. It's something that I like to do. So this is just showing me stuff that I like to do, and
Wow.
yeah.
But I mean,
So
you're like living proof of what we're talking about here. It's like you're unblocking your brilliance. It's like
yeah.
you work through these blocks and all this brilliance is pouring out. I mean, that's the whole point of all this. So that's fantastic. But it sounds to me like there, what you're doing is you're tapping more into kind of intuition and creative flow,
Yeah.
which is so that's the whole idea is get rid of the blocks so that you can be in touch with that. Now, what about when you get triggered or things come up, then what do you do?
I sit with the feeling. I still have trigger moments because I'm still working a 9 to 5. I
Yeah.
don't want to be there, but I just sit with it and see why I don't want to be here and
Mm.
how can I make it, more better until I leave or why won't be such a resistance because I notice when I'm resisting it, it's like it increases. the feeling. So I'm trying to get out of the resistance and get into the flow so I can exit the job.
Let me ask you
Because
a
that's
question.
still like a fear there.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, you're going to have to walk through fear and
Yeah,
you're going to have, as you follow this thing, you're going to come up against different blocks, like because there's a security aspect and all of that. So the fear of letting go of something that maybe seems secure, you're going to have to
right.
deal with that part. But let me ask you this. I'm wondering the stuff that you don't like about work, does it have anything to do with like control or feeling controlled? I'm just curious.
Um, yeah, it has some a little bit to do with that, and it feel like I'm stagnated in a block. Like I can't expand. Yeah.
Okay, right, right. So there's some energy to work with there. Okay,
Yep.
so I guess what would you say about this process to somebody who's thinking about doing it? What would you recommend? What would you say?
I would say do it. I mean, do it and just see where it gets you because it got me so far. It relieved some of the blockage that was blocking me from being more creative and going, tapping into my creative flow. It brought me back to, to who I really am, the true self, my true self. And that feels amazing. I thought I would never reach this point, but I'm here. I'm here. It's there.
Yeah. And you know what? What's great news about that? And you're a very lucky person, right? It doesn't happen to everybody that quickly necessarily. And sometimes it doesn't happen. Some people die without ever sort of tapping into that. But now what you have in front of you is this journey of that continuing to expand and just get better and better all the time in terms of
Right.
like that true self that you're connecting to is infinite. And so there's like no end to it. So there's no end to how much you can open up to and how much resistance and fight and all that stuff that you can let go of. So I predict wonderful things for you in your future, so that's good. Um,
Thanks, Evan.
yeah, so I guess we should open it up to some questions. Does anybody have any questions for Tracy? Let's see here. I'm going to get rid of me. Okay. Is that a hand, Angie?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
well, I don't know if it's so much a question, but like I was in the group and worked with Tracy and Stacy, and it was amazing. Just they were great to work with, and it was amazing how quickly they ran through things. And it was great being paired up with them because I related so much, which I didn't think of as a block. So they helped me with the whole church thing because I was in a controlling church for 15 years. And that was helpful to me because I hadn't seen that block till I heard them sharing. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm glad I got to work with you guys, and I'm happy to see how deeply and quickly it worked for you guys. Very much
Oh,
so.
thanks, Angie.
Very inspiring.
It was
And
nice working with you too, Angie.
Thank
I mean,
you.
these guys are in a group, and I can't even keep
Yeah.
up with all the posts that they do. So they've stayed connected. So that's one of the beautiful things about community. And Angie, you moved through an entire block in a month too, your biggest
Yes.
block, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it worked for
Yeah.
you as well. And here, let's get
it
Stacy
it
here.
did work for me as well. Not as and I don't necessarily think everything has to be the same pace for everybody.
No,
I
it
Right.
does. No,
I
it does.
I got my yeah, I got my block down to 0 in a month, so that was great.
And so, Stacey, I put you on here too, as well, since you were part of this group. They had one more member and stuff, but we already had you for an interview. But I'm going to have you come back and do a live interview like this because this is more fun. We're going to wait a couple months just to see how this expands, and
Yeah.
whether you guys do your business together. But I guess I just want to open it up to you to say if there's anything you want to say, since you were part of this group too. You might as well represent.
Oh, yeah. So I'm just excited because everything just from those major blocks that we dissolve. I mean, our world is really is totally different now. Like everything is shifting of more being, more we are more aware of the manifestations that we want to create. I mean, it's just like I'm just so excited to see, this time next year we're gonna be in a totally different place. I know we are, because I could, it's just everything
You
just
can feel it.
yeah.
Well, and the key,
Yeah.
of course, is to, is just to keep doing what you've been doing. Like one of the sort of pitfalls of happiness is you start to feel good and then you're like, oh, I feel good. I don't want to do that stuff. I don't want to go
Hmm.
there anymore. And you start to feel good, but you don't realize you stop turning the wheel and it'll last for months. You'll feel good for months afterward, but then it'll start to dry up and you go, what happened? And it's not as easy to get back. So if you guys are in the flow, if you just keep staying in the flow, that will happen. You will continue to sort of grow and you'll have challenges. You'll have things that'll come up. You
Right.
like lifes and all of that. There's no question. But that's all part of the growth as long as you stay in it. So you guys have just been great and amazing. And I'm so happy that it's moving and we'll have you both back for interviews in a couple months. We'll wait a while so that we can hear about, several months so that we can hear about all the cool things you guys are doing. And I'd love to see, like for me, the dream would be you guys make a business together. You know what I mean? And that would be sort of cool. That would be like
Yeah.
a big success. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Now I gotta undo all this stuff. Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Susie.
Susie, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I was raising my hand.
Okay. Great. Let's
Um,
see.
Tracy, it's been great hearing from you. I noticed that you used the word resistance, and that was the thing that kind of was like in your way. And you uncovered some stuff related to control. And
Right.
for me, one of the key words is avoidance. I had a pattern around that. But when I stopped avoiding, it brought a lot of other things up. I got clarity on why I was doing that. So I wondered if you could expand more on when you recognize the resistance, what else kind of did it uncover? Some more things.
So when I say resistance, like dealing with issues or anything that comes up, it's like I try to go with the feeling. So when I start feeling a heavy quenching in my chest, or like like I don't want to do this no more, or it feel like it's like a weight. When I feel that, then I know I need to back off and I need to just sit still and then just allow, and just ask the question, what is this trying to show me? Or what do I need? Is this a blockage or is something I just need to step away from right now? Or is this a tech, as I'm in the flow? So once I ask those questions, then I can know which way to go because sometimes it just happens when I'm at work. Sometimes it happens when I'm trying to do my business. Sometimes it happens like when I'm in a conversation with somebody and I just ask myself, do I need to walk away from this conversation, to myself because I feel that weight. I feel that resistance. I feel that tiredness in me. So that's what I mean when I say resistance.
Great. Yeah, it's absolutely clear some of the ways it showed up for you, and it's nice hearing more details on it because it
Yeah.
helps me understand your experience better.
Okay, I remember the other thing that I wanted to share. Thank you, Susie. Um, so that thing you just talked about, and this is something we haven't talked about a ton in our group, but it's something I would like to talk about more. Because one of the things that started happening for me is I started to only work when I feel like it, right? And it's kind of what you described. It's like I'll take a break for an hour, and then I say, okay, I'm gonna do some work, and I'll work for like 2 or 3 minutes. And if I'm not feeling it, if I feel that, it's just like I just set it down, you know. And
Yeah.
and so and so it's this practice kind of not being in that crunch. And then whenever I get in that crunch, like you're saying, to step back from it and give it space. Because for me, I don't know if this is true for you, but I spent so much time working in a state of fear and working in a state of like panic and I got to get this, all of that. And so learning how to kind of only really work when it feels good and I'm relaxed, because otherwise I'm kind of forcing it, you know,
Right.
which is what I hear in your thing. So, and again, that's that there's a couple of things in there. There's not just there's listening to the body, but there's also trusting the universe that you can step away and that you're going to be okay. You know what I mean? So I guess talk about that if you can. Is do you sense more of a trust of the universe? Um,
Yeah, and that's and that's where I'm getting. I'm building my trust, because that was a block too of me not trusting, my intuition,
yeah.
my guidance. that was a block. So I'm getting into more trusting, what it's showing me instead of, saying, no, I can't, and just try to take it in and just force myself to do something. Because I notice when I force myself to do something, it don't work.
Yeah.
It just go crazy.
Well, and Stacy talked a lot about that in her interview too. So I'm going to post all these on the school thing. So if you want to see Stacy's interview, look for it. And Angie did one too. So if you're watching this and this was interesting to you to hear this, listen to how they grew and how they dealt with it. But it does ultimately come back. I mean, again, it happened for you really fast, which I'm really happy. I've worked for people with 3 years and they didn't make as much progress as you did in several weeks. And I know you and Stacy did a lot of work that didn't quite click, but like this was kind of luckily this was the kind of thing that clicked for you guys. And so great.
Yeah.
Um, oh, what was I going to say? I talked myself into a corner. Um, Oh, but yeah, the thing that you said, which was like, pretty advanced, is like, your true self. It's like that's the point of all this. And you're getting better because as much as you know it and you can touch it and experience it, there's still parts of you that don't,
Hmm.
right? And so
Right.
you have to keep working and letting go of those
Yeah.
parts. And it's because trusting the universe slash God is the same thing as trusting yourself because that's
Right.
what you are, right? So anyway, I don't know. I think it's just a story full of miracles, and I'm so happy for both you and Stacy. Yeah, we'll just have to do this again in several months when from your mansion.
Okay.
You guys buy it, yeah, it'll be good. Okay, anything else you want to say as a parting thought?
No, that's it.
Okay, did anybody else have any questions?
No questions. Just thank you for your sharing.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome, Susie.
No questions.
All right. That was awesome. Well, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you, Tracy, for sharing your
Thank
true
you.
self with
You're
us.
welcome.
Yeah, everybody, let's
Keep
give her
shining,
some.
girl. Shining
Yay!
Thanks,
bright.
Evan.
She is shining.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
Evan, I like the live interview thing. Yeah.
Right, I know
Yeah,
it's
this is
fun, huh?
nice.
Yeah. So we'll
Yeah.
have,
Good
yeah.
idea.
Well, you guys probably know, but Angie's business is now a business. It's kind of like a
Oh,
fish,
wow. Yay. Yay,
huh?
Angie.
Yeah,
Whoop,
here,
whoop.
let's put Angie on here.
My beautiful website help.
Yay, Angie.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's right. Because Stacy made the website. But it's
You
like
did.
you're like sending out W-9s, right? So that they can pay you. I mean,
Two of
that's
them. Yeah.
that's a pretty big breakthrough. It's like you're
Wow,
getting
that's
paid
awesome.
because that's the first step. You got to once you start getting paid, then you start to understand yourself in a different way. It's like I can get paid for this, and you start to build confidence, and then
Yep.
it can turn into a career. But that's the first step. So that's huge, Angie. So let's
Totally.
everybody celebrate
Totally.
Angie while we're here.
Totally.
Yay,
Totally.
Angie.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you guys. Thanks so much
That's
all for
fun.
being here. We'll see y'all soon.
All right. Have a beautiful
Okay, guys.
day,
Bye.
everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.